Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening to internet live radio all throughout the world on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course on wakeupcalldt.com, as I said, where the MixLR feed is embedded. You're also watching and listening on facebook.com/livenowdt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt as well. With that being stated, I am very excited this morning to have somebody that is no stranger to the broadcast back on the show to talk about his new chapter. Aaron Hackett, who came to Syracuse out of Venice in Florida, came up to Syracuse, played tight end for the Orange, and had the opportunity to play another year, and he decided to hop into the transfer portal and find his way over to the TCU Horned Frogs to continue his collegiate career on the field. And we now bring him in for the first time ever as a member of TCU. So let's bring him in here. Aaron, how are we doing today?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I was talking to you off the air a little bit about it. Like, how strange is it for you? Is it as strange for you as it is for me that, you know, I remember talking to you coming out of Venice and trying to figure out where you were going to go. We did, you know, a special about, you know, your recruitment. I mean, I was talking to you on the recruiting trail, and now I'm talking to you after finishing up your time at Syracuse, and you got another year to give to go over to TCU. I mean, is it surreal and strange for you that as many years have passed since the first time we spoke?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely wild. If you would have asked me, you know, after our season in 2019, you know, where I would be in 2021, I think one of my last answers would be Fort Worth, Texas. So, you know, obviously it's been a crazy year, just outside of the world, but blessed with an opportunity to kind of have it. They gave us this extra year, and so the time has really flown by.
What can you say about the NCAA's decision in this pandemic to essentially say to the players, you know, hey, if you're going to play this season, it's almost a free year. We're going to grant you another year of eligibility. What did it mean to you that you had, you know, an extra year, that if you did decide to play, which you did, that you were still going to have a year after all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a fair deal. Look, especially a guy like me who suffered an injury in early April and was kind of on the fence of, you know, whether I was going to redshirt, whether I was going to play this year. And, you know, the NCAA giving us that opportunity, obviously a bunch of different schools, everyone's going through different things. And it was so unpredictable what region of the country you're in, you know, how heavy is the pandemic stricken, where you were at. So I think that the NCAA hit it right this time by giving everyone an extra year of eligibility. So yeah, I mean, I'm thankful they did it.
Yeah, you know, and having that, Aaron, having the opportunity, I mean, did it help you play more freely, you know, this year, knowing that you had kind of a year in your back pocket? I mean, was it in the back of your mind?
I wouldn't say play more freely. I would say that it gave me the opportunity to kind of come back from injury and feel more comfortable like that. I wouldn't say I rushed back, but I definitely came back within a certain time frame that was sooner than expected, and that kind of gave me that confidence in terms of, okay, I know I can play and go out there and enjoy the season with my teammates, and whatever happens, I still have that extra year in my back pocket, kind of as security.
Did you think in your head that you would be somewhere else in the extra year? I mean, did you know before the 2020 season started that you were going to take advantage of the extra year? Did you already know before the season started that you had every intention of using the extra year?
I wouldn't say, you know, every intention of going somewhere else. I knew that kind of coming back with the injury that I had and the time that it takes to rehab, that it was going to be tough for me to, you know, be NFL ready by the end of 2020 in terms of just size and weight, going through what I went through with the pec tear. So that was one thing. You know, I wasn't sure where the season was going to take me. And, you know, at that point of the year, I was really just focused on, hey, can I get back for the first week against North Carolina? And that's really where my focus was the whole year. And then every week after that, you know, what can I do to help us win? What can I do to help the team operate better?
Speaking here with Aaron Hackett, who came to play tight end at Syracuse the last few seasons and is now moving on to TCU. Aaron, for you, when you look back and we talk about hindsight 2020, the year 2020 is in our hindsight now, but the actual statement itself we've used for centuries, you know, hindsight 2020. For looking back at your time at Syracuse, was it the right decision for you ultimately? What can you say about now looking back on being a young kid out of Venice High School in Venice, Florida, choosing Syracuse?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I have no regrets about choosing to come to Syracuse. Like you said, I came to Syracuse as a young man, 18 years old, and now I'm leaving, and the maturity and the lessons I've learned, the friendships and the bonds I've made with everybody. I'm extremely grateful for my time there. I'll always bleed orange, in the bottom of my heart. Syracuse University, that's with me for life, and I'll be a proud alumni. I'm just still very thankful to this day for the opportunity Coach Babers gave me and Coach Free gave me. We obviously, there's been some ups and downs, but there's been some really great moments on and off the field that, I'm just really thankful for. And, got to play in some really exciting games. Had a chance in 2018 to go down and play in the Camping World Bowl in front of all my family and friends and beat a good West Virginia team, which I'll never forget. So I'm just extremely grateful for the opportunity. And, all the lessons I learned, all the coaches there, they treated me fairly. They just, like they said, Familia Ohana, Coach Babers truly treated me like a family member, and I'm forever appreciative of that.
And to go back to the fact that you got to be in a bowl game, and not just any bowl game, but you got to see Syracuse's resurgence back to a bowl. It had been a few seasons since it had happened. It was a year where Syracuse had done a lot of things they hadn't done in a decade, 2 decades, and whatnot. Being a part of that team in 2018, they got to finish up in the Camping World Bowl in Orlando, Florida, in your home state. Bring me into that moment for you when you stood on the field and you looked up at the crowd and you looked around the stadium. What did that feel like? Because it's one thing to go to a bowl game. It's one thing to be a team that's, is playing in the postseason. But it's another thing for you to return back home to your state, just what that meant to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that was one of the best moments I've had in football. That was one of the first games where I had multiple receptions and I was kind of involved in the offense a lot more. And, one of the best moments I'll always remember, I tell people this story, is, after we won that game, Sean Riley, our kick returner wide receiver, hopped on the stage, started giving a little speech. And, it was really that my dad somehow snuck onto the field, so we were all, the confetti's going everywhere. I saw my father. It was a perfect moment, and that whole experience was super fun. It was a great game. The seniors who played on that team, I'm forever thankful for. Just the leadership and the role they've brought into my life, and that was a great moment for me and for Syracuse football.
What did Sean Riley, a friend of mine as well, what did he say when he jumped up and had a speech?
I think it's somewhere on YouTube. It was half speech, half invitation to Coach Babers, but it was hilarious. He grabbed the microphone. That was right after we had won. They had the T-shirts out there for us, the newspaper saying that we won it. It was awesome.
And when you go back, to that moment, you're playing in front of your family, you're getting multiple receptions, you win the game. What were the first, when the game ended, I want to live vicariously through you. When you looked up off the field at the sky when the game ended, what was your first thought in your mind?
Man, I was just overcome with joy, especially that had been a long year. Like I said, kind of one of the first games where I really had an opportunity to show myself and prove myself on the field as well, and just taking it all in, and realizing that moment was there, and enjoying the moment, and celebrating with my teammates. Some of them, the last time they'll ever put football pads on, and I feel like for a lot of them that was a great way to go out. So.
Speaking here with Aaron Hackett, coming from Syracuse over to TCU, and we'll talk about the decision on TCU in a second here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Aaron, for you in that game, Eric Dungey, I don't know if you know this because I don't know where you were when it happened, but I actually have the Dungey picture from the paper. My dad framed it for, he gave it to me. I got it and I put it in a frame here, and it's in my studio because they jokingly say I'm the person that made Dungey cry. Now, I'm the one that asked him the question about not just that game, but the 4 years, the adversity, the injuries, everything that people had said about him, just what it meant to him to sit there with his brothers that night. And that was the question where he got very emotional and very worked up. What can you say about your quarterback, Eric Dungey, that when you came into Syracuse, he was your guy for the first couple seasons? What can you say about who he was, who he is, and how much he means to you? And then kind of secondly, if the NFL is missing their mark on him and in the fact that they have not given him a chance yet.
Yeah, so, when I came in as a true freshman, that was when Dungey, he was a junior already, and just, you could tell the leadership he already had and the grasp he had over the team. And, being kind of a younger guy in the system, you just kind of want to fall in line and you know what I mean, do whatever you can to help the team, do whatever you can to impress the quarterback. One thing I always remember about Dungey that stuck with me is just the toughness and grit that kid brought. And, you want a true definition of a competitor. That was him. He was fun to play with. You heard him talking to the other team. He was fired up anytime he made a play. He had let someone know about it, and he was a great leader and a great quarterback and a guy who was super fun to play with for the first 2 years. So obviously a Syracuse legend he'll go down as, and like I said, he's a great competitor. You never want to count any of those guys out, especially at the NFL level. I know he's had a little bit of opportunity. I'm not sure if he's still pursuing it or not, but everything I saw from my 2 years would make me say that he's a great competitor. He's a super tough kid, and there's a spot on every football team for a guy like that.
There's a spot on every football team for a guy like that. No better quote to say about Eric Dungey. As somebody in the offense with him, as one of his skill position guys, what did it mean to you? How did it fire you up when, they would hit him, they would say something to him, they try to knock him down, and then he would go over and push somebody himself or, hit somebody himself? He, usually as a quarterback, you want to stay clean, you want to stay upright, you don't want to get involved in much of anything. This man is a dog, and he would come at some of those defenders like a linebacker, and if they were treating him a certain way, he'd let them have it. What did that mean to you, and did it fire you up to see your quarterback getting in people's faces and knocking them down when they tried to mess with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we got a little worried because, Dungey, he wants to go run everyone over and jump over everyone and make the Superman plays. And, as a guy, especially a guy on offense, you feed off your quarterback. And, he's made some outlandish plays for the time I was at Syracuse. I remember as a true freshman, we went down to Miami, and he had a couple really crazy plays, but I'll never forget. It was one where I think he had thrown an interception or the ball had gotten tipped, and some big D lineman on Miami got it, and everyone's standing him up. He's kind of in the pile, and Dungey runs in there and rips the thing back out and gets the ball for the offense. And I'm thinking, wow, man, I ain't never seen a quarterback make a play like that. That took some true grit. And so, that's one of the plays that always stick with me with Dungey. It's just like I said, he's the ultimate competitor. It's never over for him. And I think that play summed it up pretty well.
And for you as a skill position guy at tight end, you've only, had the ball thrown to you but from 300 different quarterbacks at Syracuse. You have had Eric Dungey, you had Tommy DeVito, you had Rex Culpepper, you had Jacoby and Morgan. How did you navigate through all of that, and what did it teach you to have so many different quarterbacks with different skill sets throwing you the ball?
Yeah, I think especially in college, you develop a relationship with all the guys in your roster, and whether they're a freshman or they're a fifth-year senior, you know what I mean. By the time you get done with fall camp, those guys are all like brothers to you. You guys have all bled and sweat and been through hours and hours of meetings together, and so you definitely develop that relationship. Like I said, when I was a freshman, I came in. Dungey was already kind of an upperclassman. He was that guy. I came in with Tommy DeVito, and DeVito's always been my quarterback in terms of he's the guy who I came in with. My freshman year when we were taking all the second team's reps, it was me and Tommy. 2019, 2020, obviously he was my starting quarterback, so I developed a great relationship with him, and then kind of got to see it from the other role. Unfortunately, when Tommy went down this year and Jacoby stepped in, and just trying to be a good mentor to him, because I remember being, obviously not as a quarterback, but I remember being a true freshman, kind of getting thrown into the fire a little bit when we were playing Clemson. And I know how it is. And the biggest thing you're worried about is not making a mistake. And I think Jacobian came in this year. The kid's got incredible poise. He handled it with grace, and he did a really good job leading that offense. I mean, here's an 18-year-old kid who's telling us guys who are 21, 22, who've been there for 4 years, come on, we need this drive. Let's go get it done. And, I would say the same thing about DeVito, too. He was a great leader and, had a really good control of the locker room and the huddle whenever he was in there. And, all those guys are extremely hard workers. You would catch Rex Culpepper in the weight room up there at any hour of the day. And that kid, he's extremely dedicated to what he does and what he loves to do. And, all of them brought great attitudes out to the practice field every single day. So I'm thankful I got to play with every single one of those guys.
Speaking here with Aaron Hackett of Syracuse Orange football history, moving on to TCU and the Horned Frogs. Aaron, you just brought up Rex. He was a quarterback, then he got moved to tight end. He was put all over the fields, and kind of just work him in where they wanted to. What can you say about Rex and what he was willing to do just to be out there and support the team? And then secondly, what you can say about his journey of having a teammate go through cancer treatment and find his way back onto the field to become a starter and to get Syracuse their first touchdown of the 2020 season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just another extremely tough kid. I've known Rex going all the way back to high school. Our high schools, actually, we joked about it a lot. Venice High School and where he went, Plant, were two pretty big rivals. I mean, I would say the two premier football teams in Southwest Florida in terms of our coast. And so, I've known Rex for a long time. Again, another kid who's just willing to do anything to make the team better. When I was a true freshman, that was before they passed the redshirt rule where you could play 4 games and still redshirt. So I got thrown into the mix early and, still hadn't really found my role and was doing anything I could to get on the field, whatever, special teams, short yardage, goal line, all that situations. And I remember trying to battle it out with Rex just to get the up back spot on kickoff return because, he felt like he didn't want to just sit on the sidelines. Yeah, he was a quarterback, and most quarterbacks, they're the backup quarterback. They're fine with just holding the clipboard. But he said, no, I don't want to do that. Coach, I can play on kickoff return. I can play on punt return, all that stuff. And I remember battling it out with Rex my freshman year, trying to do whatever I could to get that kickoff return spot. And then towards the end of the year, he came in the game and he played really well. I remember one of our last games at Wake Forest in Boston College. He came in for Mahoney. He must have thrown 200 or 300 yards, had a couple touchdown passes, and was slinging the ball around. And just a guy who comes from a great family. You could tell he like his morals are in the right place. And another great teammate. That guy, super hard working. Like I said, he's a beast in the weight room. He's pound for pound might be the strongest guy on our roster last year. And, great kid. And I'm happy that I was able to develop that relationship with Rex when I got up there. And to see him come in Pitt this year and throw that deep touchdown to Taj, that was awesome. Running down the field and just seeing the joy and the excitement in his face after everything he's been through. Just a true warrior. And wherever it ends up in life, that kid's going to do great things. So.
That coming from Aaron Hackett here on Rex Culpepper, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Aaron, you have played in the last 3 seasons. You played in every game. You had 13 games in 2018, 12 in 2019. Coming back from an injury, like you said, in April, and you were able to play all 11 games in 2020. What can you tell me about, what you've been able to do and the consistency and how important that is for TCU to see, for NFL teams to see, that you have fought back from injury and you've gotten yourself on the field and you've played in every single game for the last 3 years?
Yeah, I think I hope people who are looking back on it just see how much I love the game of football and how much I'm kind of willing to sacrifice my body for my brothers out there on the field. Obviously, I had a injury before the season this year, but then when we were playing Louisville away this year, I took a shot early in the second quarter, right before I attempted the field, one of those pooch kicks, and ended up having to get sent to the hospital and get a CT scan on my spleen, and my ribs were deeply bruised. You know what I mean? And I just hope that when people look back on me and my career, they just say that kid, he loved football and he was tough and he played through everything. And that's really what I tried to do. I've been banged up, battered, and bruised. There was probably opportunities where it might have been better for my career if I would have said, hey, maybe I'll just sit out this year. Maybe I'll fully rehab until 6 games in the season. But, I love the game. And earlier in camp in 2020, I was in a non-contact jersey. And, I mean, if you want to ask anybody, you could ask Reno Farid, my tight end coach. It just drove me crazy every day. I was just trying to do more than I was allowed to, because I wanted to get back and play. So, I hope teams at the next level see that when I'm healthy, I can do things in all 3 phases of the game. I can block in line, I can pass protect, and I can be a receiving threat. And I love the game, and I try to do things the right way and carry about myself in the right way. I'm a firm believer that especially a guy like me, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get half the results compared to a lot of people. So, I try to take that in everything I do, and just fortunate to have a good career at Syracuse. Came in, I don't know, whatever I was, 2-star, 3-star on rivals, didn't matter to me, and was able to walk out of there with, tied for the most career touchdown receptions, and that's a lot of people in my circle who helped me develop, and a lot of hours in the gym just spent grinding and working my tail off. So I'm thankful.
And we look at that and what you were able to do. And like you said, 9 touchdowns that you had in your career. You had 6 in 2019. You had a couple in 2020 and your first one in 2018. When you look back on, I mean, you and Luke Benson looked like this tandem, this force to be reckoned with. And, I grew up in Syracuse, born and raised in Syracuse, and I've been watching, the team here forever and a day. And Nick Provo, to me, who played with Ryan Nassib, he was like the last really good tight end that Syracuse had. As far as I shouldn't say the last really good, the last time they really targeted the tight end is probably a better way to say it. And so Provo was like the last guy they really genuinely went to. And then when you came in, I was like, okay, they're starting to go to Aaron. And when Benson came in, there's this tandem. I think that you guys were, at least in my opinion, when the ball went your way, more than 50% of the time you were catching that ball, 70%, 80%, 90%. Like you were making plays happen. Luke over the middle, you over the middle, the trick plays, different things you did. You were electric in the end zone. You were electric when they went after you. My frustration is it's been forever between Nick Provo and you guys, and now we got you guys here, and I just felt like you were so underutilized in 2020. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? It just felt like you and Benson were like clockwork. It was just like automatic, and then all of a sudden it was like, why aren't they getting the ball in week 1, week 2, week 5? What's going on? Because you and Luke just seem to know what you're doing, and in my opinion, you seem to be the 2 best tight ends that we've had since Nick Provo in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously I'm not going to lie to you, there was frustrations for me in that aspect of it too, coming from 2019 where, if you look at combined tight end rooms in the ACC, no one scored more touchdowns than me and Luke Benson combined, no other 2 tight ends. And so to kind of come from that year and all the potential that was there and seeing Luke develop into turning into a great player. And I really thought this was going to be his, a chance for him to break out this year and then use him in the right way and get him the ball in space. Cause once he gets moving, it's hard to catch him. Things happen. I'm not the coach. I'm not a coach. I go out there, I perform what's asked of me. And, this year happened to be, a lot more blocking stuff, a lot more, helping out protection instead of, some of the stuff we were getting to in 2019. Whether that be the change of coordinator or just the change in kind of personnel that we dealt with. I have no true explanation for it, but I know that, if you saw the development from Luke from when he first came to Syracuse to where he was at by the end of last year, as not only as a receiver but as a blocker. His future is really bright, and I hope that he has an opportunity to really get featured in the passing game this year a lot more than he was, because when he gets the ball in his hands, he's dynamic and he's a super hard worker. Just another tough kid from PA who does everything right, and was able to kind of learn from me when he first got in here, and I'm sure that he's going to keep those traits that we've worked on. Every day, it was kind of a welcome to college football for him, because every day my freshman year, we were the first two guys on the field every single day, us and Coach Faree, just working underneath the chutes, working route work, working our feet. And, I think that paid dividends off for both of us. And, I'm really thankful to be coached under Coach Marino Faree. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for the role he plays on the team, but, he's one of those guys who he does everything the right way, and he expects it done the right way every single time, and there's no BSing with him. And, especially for young men coming into that program, I think that's the best thing that you can have as a coach like that, who's going to tell it to you how it is. And he never played no favorites or anything like that. At the end of the day, he just wanted us all to be the best athletes we could be and the best men we could be. And, I was able to grow a lot under him and learn a lot under him. Extremely thankful for him and his family, all the times they would take us in and have us eat at his house. His wife, Rebecca, she's amazing. He's got 4 kids who are all super. And, so like I said, Syracuse has a great tradition of tight ends. If you look at it, John Mackey, went to Syracuse, the best college football tight end every year. The award's named after him, John Mackey. And, there's been a lot of guys that have came after him who have been great. And I think that going forward in the future, tight end could be a strong position for Syracuse, just because of the history that's been back there. And, the guys they've been able to get before. It's just in terms of developing these guys and using them, the game's changing a lot. And for a couple of years, you saw kind of the tight end position fade away. And now with guys like Travis Kelce and George Kittle, it's almost more prominent than it ever has been, especially as receivers. And teams are getting really creative in the way they can get big guys the ball, get the ball in their hands with space. And, I hope that going forward that we could see Luke and some of the younger guys on that roster, Steve Mahar, Max Mang, both of those guys have great futures. Learned a lot this year. See those guys featured more in the passing game.
And speaking here with Aaron Hackett on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, you mentioned it. You're tied for the most touchdowns by a tight end in Syracuse history with the guy that I mentioned, Nick Provo, who, like I said, I believe was the last really utilized tight end in Syracuse history, played from 2008 to 2011. What does it mean to you to have tied Nick Provo for the most touchdowns by a tight end in Syracuse history with 9? It puts you above Roland Williams, who was part of the greatest show on turf with the then St. Louis Rams. It puts you above, John Mackey, the king of tight end at Syracuse, that went on to play for the Colts in the NFL. When you see the John Mackey names and the Nick Provo names and Chris Gedney, may he rest in peace, along with John Mackey.
Absolutely.
You're at the top of this list with Nick Provo, above Chris Gedney, above Roland Williams, above John Mackey. You are the leader in the history of Syracuse football in tight end touchdown receptions, tied for that. Like, what does that mean to you? And quite reasonably, if they had used you in the offense more this year, you would have been the leader outright, I would imagine, to say you'd have a couple more. So what does it mean to you that you're in history right now at Syracuse as the top tight end as far as touchdown receptions with Nick Provo, with names like John Mackey and Roland Williams and Chris Gedney behind you on that list?
Yeah, it's incredibly humbling, and it's a result of a lot of hours of work and years and years of just grinding and going at this thing. And all the guys you mentioned on that list are, a lot of them played in the NFL. All of them had really great careers. And, just to have my name brought up in any conversation with those guys is extremely humbling, and, makes me want to work even harder to see, how far I can take this thing, because I know all those guys are great and they had great careers. And I truly believe I can hopefully have a similar career path. Like you said, John Mackey, the king of all tight ends, man. Just saying it like that is crazy, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the people in my corner who pushed me and helped me work this hard, and kind of showed me the right way about going things, and just very humbling.
Coming here from Aaron Hackett. Aaron, before I let you go, you decided to enter the transfer portal. Tell me why.
So it just kind of came down to a multitude of things. I had talked with Coach Babers after the season, and coming off this injury and kind of where I was at, I truly felt like the best thing for me to develop as a football player was to come down here in Fort Lauderdale, work with, the guys at XBE Sports, Tony Villano, Anquan Bolden does my receiving work, all these guys, and have a 6-month period where I could train for the combine, train for pro day, and kind of see where I was at. Now, thankfully, the NCAA had given us that extra year of eligibility where now I'm able to do that and still kind of, have an insurance plan and go off and play an extra year of college. And that's really what it came down to. I love my time at Syracuse. I love Coach Babers. I loved all the guys on the team. But, at the end of the day, football is a business. And, I saw some stat somewhere on Twitter yesterday that the SEC raked in $439 million of total revenue last year. And so, football's a game, but if you're just only looking at it through a game perspective, you're going to get burned, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and it's a multi-million-dollar corporation. And, in order for me to achieve the things I wanted to do and kind of go to where I wanted to be, I felt like my best opportunity was to come down here and train for the spring semester, do the spring semester remotely and train. And, just talking with Coach Babers and Coach Free, I completely understand that, me coming down here wouldn't be fair for me to come back to Syracuse in the next year, especially after those guys are going to go through winter workouts together and go through spring ball and, kind of gear up for the 2021 season. So that's really what it came down to, is just, me betting on myself and investing on myself. Coming down here, I work a training schedule where it's Monday through Saturday. I train twice a day with some of the best professionals. Tony, he trains Travis Kelce, Mark Ingram, all these guys, and really developed me into an NFL football player. Now, fortunately enough, I did enter my name into the transfer portal, and I wasn't going to come back to college just for any opportunity, but I felt that I had a really good spot at TCU. Coach Patterson, Coach Krill, kind of let me know the situation they're in, where they had just lost 2 guys to the NFL, have a history of putting guys in the NFL and really utilizing the tight end position, and they seem to have a good team coming back, and that was one of the positions that they were missing. They needed a guy who could come in and block and be a receiving threat and kind of be a 3-down tight end who can do everything. And in terms of where I was at physically at that point, I didn't think I was physically ready enough to make that jump to the NFL. So it kind of came down to, okay, well, what's my best option? A lot of guys are quick to pull the trigger to try to go to the NFL, but if you want to stick around and make a career out of it, it's not just getting there; it's sticking around. And some people don't totally understand that. At 21, 22 years old, is that if you want to make a career out of this thing, you got to get to that second contract, and you got to be able to sustain yourself in that league. And physically, I just thought I wasn't quite at that level to make that jump yet, coming off that pec tear and some of the things I had been through. So having a chance to come down here and really physically develop myself into, hopefully an NFL player, and then have an opportunity to come this season and play with the new team and, see where we can take this thing. Like I said, if you would have asked me after the 2019 season, would I be in Fort Worth, Texas, playing for Texas Christian, I would have had no idea. But that's the crazy thing about this game. It will take you all over the United States, and I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm excited to kind of jump in somewhere new. I kind of believe that um, comfortability breeds complacency. So when you're kind of in a place for so long and you get adjusted to the routine, you know what's coming next to you. That doesn't bring out the best in you. And being able to kind of switch it up and come down here and really train my body the way I need to train it has been huge for me, and hopefully will be huge for my career.
Yeah, and like you said, you never knew. I mean, you played as a true freshman. You played all 4 seasons at Syracuse. I mean, in any other world, it's over. So, I mean, yeah, there's a pandemic, and there was a lot of adversity that happened from that. But to know that when you were at Venice High School, I mean, this wasn't a real possibility. There's miracles, there's things that happen, there's the rose that grows after the tornado storm because there was enough rain and whatnot, and the sunlight that came after. So what can you say about that? Is finding a rose within the storm and finding an opportunity that presented itself that didn't even exist 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, and it's really crazy. And then to kind of think about it is that I probably would have redshirted my freshman year at Syracuse if they had passed that redshirt rule where you could play 4 games and still maintain a redshirt. But that rule didn't pass till after I played as a true freshman.
Yeah.
And, I think I may have played in 8 or 9 games as a true freshman. I don't know. But, if I was a year younger, then I probably would have stayed in redshirted for an extra year and had an extra year of eligibility anyways. And it's just crazy how things work out and crazy how opportunities arise. And I'm just, like I said, I'm thankful that I have another year to go out and prove myself to NFL scouts and prove myself to myself that I can take this thing where I know physically I can, and have an opportunity to play for a really good football team my last year.
Yeah, and we look at TCU and know that you're going to be inside of the Big 12. It's going to be an interesting thing here for you to be in a new conference. What are you excited about knowing that you now have this schedule? You're going to play SMU in California out of conference, and then you'll have those teams within the conference and within the state of Texas, different rivalries that you'll get to be a part of. What are you most excited about with TCU in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think just experiencing a different level of football. We always say Florida high school football is the best, whatever. But I mean, if you want to see who does it the biggest, there's no doubt it's Texas, and they treat football over there like a religion, and all the games we're gonna have an opportunity to play at some great venues, play at Oklahoma, play at Texas Tech, stuff like that, which I never would have imagined. So I'm just excited for the opportunity, to play against some good ball teams. I've played some great teams at my time at Syracuse. I played the national champions. I've had an opportunity to block first-round draft picks. Now I'm over here in Texas and kind of getting the same thing, just a different conference. So I'm excited. It's definitely an offensive-driven league, and that they like to put points up in that league, and I'm excited to be part of a dynamic offense. Excited to be part of a new family too. So just thankful for the opportunity, and yeah.
That coming from Aaron Hackett. Aaron, from Venice to Syracuse to now TCU, I've always been in your corner, always rooted for you. I know that you know that, and I am so excited about this. I'm excited for a hopeful NFL career for you, but I'm definitely going to be watching close with TCU, and I got some friends at Texas Tech, so I'd say go light on them, but I love them, I love you, but I'm going to tell you what's up. I hope that y'all both have a good game, but I hope that my man Aaron Hackett's got some double-digit touchdowns this year and is getting targeted throughout. I mean, to me, it makes sense that you and Nick Provo are at the top at Syracuse because you, in my opinion, with Luke coming up now, you're the best tight end that Syracuse has had in such a long time, and I don't think that should be taken lightly. I don't think you were utilized as much as you should have been, and you have been an absolute treasure coming into the team, and I feel that, hopefully when they have somebody in the future that has the capability that you do, that it's utilized better, because I really honestly think that as much as we saw Aaron Hackett, there should have been so much more, and I think you're a game changer, and I think hopefully that'll show at TCU.
Yeah, yes, sir, and absolutely. Like I said, I'm an Orangeman for life. I bleed orange. Syracuse came from a kid who's lived in South Florida his whole life and came to upstate New York and felt like it was home for 4 years. And I'm extremely grateful for all the great fans, and they deserve a great football team up there, and I'm sure the guys are working their butts off to give it to them this year. And so I wish Syracuse nothing but the best. And Coach Babers, Coach Free, all those guys, I'm thankful for my time there, and just really appreciative of the career I was able to put together there.
What do you want to say to Luke Benson in the tight end room at Syracuse?
I would just tell those guys to stay focused and stick to the plan. And, there's going to be adversity. Everyone faces adversity in their careers. And some of those guys have already faced it in their lives, personal lives or, football. And I would just say, continue fighting that fight and continue fighting that fight. Pressure makes diamonds. You keep hitting that thing every single day, hitting that rock every single day, and just not worried about the end result, but just worried about working and working and working. Eventually that rock's going to break. And so I would tell those guys, just every single day, keep on working, keep on working, keep on working. Because, when you look back 4 years later, like you said, you might have, who knows what you could do. I came in as a no-name freshman. When I first walked in the door, guys, Eric Dungy probably laughed at me thinking that this kid, who is this? But, I ended up leaving as the tied most touchdowns at Syracuse career. And I'm so thankful for it. And, it happens really fast. You got to enjoy your time there. But, just keep on working every single day towards that goal. And, if you put enough man hours in and you work hard enough, I'm a firm believer that good things will come to you.
What does the Horned Frog Nation need to know about Aaron Hackett as they step into this season?
Yeah, I would just say, I'm more motivated than ever. I feel like right now I'm in the best shape of my life. And I'm only going to get better and better here coming in these next couple of weeks. And, I'm more motivated than ever to prove to them what I can do and help them win football games and, bring a toughness and physicality and nastiness to that team. And, just be ready to win some football games. I'm excited.
That coming from Aaron Hackett on Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Aaron, as always, I appreciate it. I respect you. And, keep that phone line open. I'll always keep mine open as well. And as I told you when I first talked to you, I'm in your corner, and I will continue to be. And I hope that you and I have a lot of great stuff to talk about to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everything. And, like I said, thank you to Syracuse Nation for being family to me for these last 4 years. I'll always bleed orange. Love you guys.